We are back with Odette Photo Art, and we are continuing our conversation on branding. Okay, so we're talking about branding, right? And we're talking about all the different strategies and techniques people use to brand. Let's start off with why brand photography. Why brand photography is really important, meaning why do people need to take photos to represent themselves, and why it shouldn't just be them holding their photo and or asking their friend to take a picture of them.
Well, professional brand photography is really important because it means that you're invested in your business. Like if you're asking, like just a friend to take a phone photo, it might be perceived that you're not investing enough. Okay. People also like the authenticity. Sometimes you're just recording a reel, like short video, and you don't need like a lot of preparation for that. But when you're going to present yourself, like in a website, social media, maybe you're presenting a paper, you're going to be featured in a magazine, a newspaper. You really need like professional photography that shows you in your best light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes also, like people struggle with how to be photographed,
Right.
and so a professional photographer will help you like show yourself in the best light possible, you know?
Right. 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 And I think that you know, being represented in the best light is really great. And also having those photos be everywhere. I don't think people understand that you take a picture once and you never know where that picture is going to end up,
True.
right? And in doing SEO, I've noticed that a lot, right? The pictures that we take of ourselves before we get to that point of having that professional photo done always seems to resurface somewhere on the internet.
That's an interesting topic.
No, okay, I'll give you a great example. I'll give you a great example. So there's a photo of myself that from a birthday party years ago, right? Happens to be the number one photo that resurfaces of me everywhere. Has
True. That
nothing to
photo,
do with
I've
my
seen
brand.
it. I've seen that photo.
Okay, nothing to do with my brand. I don't even know how it got in circulation, the way that it did, but it is one of the photos that I wish wouldn't circulate, but you know, it happens to be the most in circulation, most used photo everywhere.
There you go.
So yeah. All right, let's talk about branding and social media, like SEO. How do you use the photos from a brand shoot and use it in your SEO? Like just doing SEO for your own business. How do you use it? And how would someone else use it?
Well, you can use your photos like literally everywhere that you are being presented. It's like your digital footprint, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever that you're like in like online magazines, also on your website, and you can also like embed the information on the image. You can add information about yourself, you know, the copyright, and that comes out, you know, on the SEO part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how has SEO helped your business grow?
Well, as I mentioned in the last podcast, I think that SEO and blogging have been the most important things, like in building my business.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started blogging in 2020. I started, of course, using like lots of images on my website and creating blogs about photography, brand photography, and uh, slowly it has helped me, you know, rank in Google.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that photography is very important because, you know, SEO will make you rank in Google, but then when people go to your website, you want the best images for your business to show up there so people get interested and they can imagine themselves depending on what you sell. Even if it's, you know, if you're selling products or services, they
Mm-hmm.
can see that and feel themselves using your products or using your services. So that really helps in the perception of the client.
Yeah. And I think what most people don't know too is that you can rank on social media, on rank on different platforms on Google with just images. I think people have a misconception of what images mean, and that you can actually use your photos to drive traffic, you know, and I don't think people know that, you know.
Well, there you go. It's like a topic for a blog.
Exactly, it's a great topic for a blog. I mean, most people do not know that. I mean, ranking a photo is equally as important as the words that you're using and the information that's on the page on a blog, you know. Again, hence why that picture is probably in circulation.
I
Right,
need to find out the alt caption of that one.
right, right. Awesome,
That is so
awesome.
interesting.
Now, I know in all our previous conversations, right, we've talked about the photos, how photos help you with branding. Um, but we haven't really gotten into like branding as a whole. Like, what is branding? What do people on businesses look for in good branding? Not just from a photography or photo standpoint, but what is the definition of good branding? So if you were looking at a company, what would you say is great branding from your standpoint?
Well, the thing is that, like, when you create a brand, is how the people will perceive you. So, how do you want to be perceived? What's the legacy you want to leave in this world? I think those are like important elements of your branding. Is like, and even not only as a company, even as individuals, we are building a brand every single day. It's what
Hmm.
you do, why you do it, and then you present that to the world, and that's how people perceive you.
Hmm. And how do you capture that in your photography?
Well, the thing is that I try my sessions to be like relaxed and fun so that people can, when you begin a photography session, most people don't like to be photographed, you know, they prefer to go to the dentist than being photographed. But if you take the time to really know the person, know the brand, know what they're doing, why they're doing it, then it becomes like a, like a friendly relationship, and people start, like the real selves, and they start
Hmm.
having fun. And when you relax and have a great time during a session, I think that really comes out in your photos. So what I try to do is that I just try people to have a good time, so they show me who they really are, and then I take the photos.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And what was your most fun session, or what is your most fun session? What do you enjoy the most
During the session or one particular session?
during the session? Like, what do you enjoy the most during the session? Is it getting to know the person? Is it what do you enjoy the most?
I think, that's a great question. I enjoyed the whole process because usually, like before the session, I always try to talk to the person, and then we talk about all the details that go into the session. And then I like to arrive early, like usually when I go with my stylist, collage her studio. While she's doing her makeup, we just have this friendly, relaxed environment. We're just talking about future plans or dreams and whatever. And that part is really good because you get to know the person,
Mm-hmm.
and why. It's always about the why. It's very Simon Sinek here. So why they're doing it, why they're also like doing the session.
Mm-hmm.
But also like once I start taking photos, it's really fun for me. I would say that I enjoy the whole process.
And I'm going to be honest. I've done a session with you, and I know that you enjoy the process. Like, you really get into your art, you really love what you're doing, and you really know how to connect with everyone. And I love that about your personality.
Thank you. I really love what I do. I do. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love it. I
Mhm.
love I love being able to photograph people, and because that's their legacy. Like, imagine many years from now, like if they're building a business, but that's also their photos that they want to have like forever, and their children and the children of their children. So it's a meaningful process for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love that you brought up legacy. You know, it's really awesome. Like when you think about building a business, right? And you're thinking about leaving that legacy, you know, for the ones after you, or for people to discover. It's really an interesting process, you know, when you really think of business in that sphere. Like you're not just doing it for now, but you're doing it for like later, for years to come.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Listen, I think essentially that's why most people get into business to, they get into it for one reason or the other, and then it naturally progresses into something else.
It's what they're building.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I really love that.
It definitely progresses into something else. Okay, well, you know what we never did get into before? What are your future goals? Like next 5, 10 years, where do you see yourself?
That's a great question. I need to do like a lot of soul digging here. um, well, I'm thinking that I have studied so much about branding and marketing, and I love everything about it, that I wish that my company, my photography, like uh, expands their horizons and it becomes more like a, like one stop branding company, something like that, that can give not only great photos but also help create a great brand for entrepreneurs, small business owners that want um, to grow their business and show themselves to the world.
Mm-hmm.
um, I want to do like more to grow in the branding
Industry.
environment. Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
industry.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I get it. I get it. I think that you would be good at that because you really have a good eye, as it pertains to seeing and capturing the vision of where it is and where it should be, you know. And I think that even collaborating on some sessions, that's a goal that we both have in terms of wanting to see people grow and expand from where they are to where they could be. And not many people have that vision. They think, they I think, see it now, and like where it is now, not where it can be, you know. And I think that people in our space, is great to be able to take people from that point to where we know they can go in different ways, right? So we're helping them with that vehicle.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
the system creator. I love that. I love your vision. You're really good at that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Listen, somebody has to drive the vehicle to help people get from point A to point B, you know? And I think that in the different aspects, we do a good job of taking people from that point.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with everybody today?
Well, now that we were talking about legacy and we've already talked about my work as a brand photographer, I could also mention that as part of legacy, I also do photo restorations. And I think that, I think it's a perfect thing for for building legacies, is that, like brands and businesses, they're creating the legacy now, but
Mm-hmm.
then like maybe in the future, like the all their images that are also part of their legacy can also be restored so they can be enjoyed in the future. So that's another thing that I have been doing for a few years now.
Oh yeah, yeah. And how are you loving like photo restoration? Like,
Oh, I love it so much. Well, as everything, I'm really passionate about what I do, and you can see that. But I love learning the stories about the people in the photos. Some of the photos that I have restored are over 100 years old,
oh wow.
and learning about the stories of the people in those photos is like really really meaningful. Sometimes they're like even like only one unique image, family image, like priceless image that's almost 100 years old. And imagine being able to restore that for future generations. It's very meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a very deeply meaningful journey for me.
Oh wow. Oh wow. And I can imagine just even them letting go of that photo for you to even restore it. I'm sure
It's
sometimes.
it's a journey, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know. I know we had spoken about the photo restoration before and how much you deeply enjoy. And I did get a chance to look at some of your photos. And there was one video. Can you tell me a little bit more about that video?
Yeah, no, it's just that all of the photos are so meaningful. Like that particular story is like the only one photo of these really sweet sir with his brothers and parents in Cuba. That photo was uh I don't remember the year in which it was taken, but he was 5 years old, and it was the only photo. It was like really thin, like really, it was beyond repair, but I was able to repair it. And like in that video, like his daughter was giving it to him, and he was crying, and I was crying.
Oh,
It's really meaningful.
oh, and you know what? For everyone listening, we're definitely gonna post that video in the link so that you guys can watch it. I mean, it was phenomenal. Like, yeah, it's
Deeply
so
emotional.
it was deeply emotional, and I think we take a lot of these things for granted, like how simple it is of a gesture to restore it or have it restored for somebody, and then how much it means to that other person.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
see, that's the power of photography.
Hmm.
It's forever.
Yeah, it's capturing those moments all the time. That you go back and you look on it and you're like, oh, I remember that moment, and you go back to that feeling in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Odette, it's always a pleasure to have you here. I love speaking with you.
Same here.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, talk soon. Bye.
Bye.